The best projects come from things that we've either experienced or talking to someone else and really bonding on that human experience. And I know it sounds so cheesy, like, oh my God, humans, but it's real. We are a lot more alike than we are different if we can just get past these silly gender wars. How you doing? I am Taylor-Alexis, and welcome to my channel. This is a safe place to talk dangerously about the life lessons in your 30s, wellness, and film. So, speaking of film, today we're going to talk about finding inspiration for your film projects, right? For my filmmakers out there, sometimes it's really hard to figure out what we're going to do. And then you get into that second project funk. We'll get into all of that, but let's talk about finding inspo as a filmmaker. It's not that I was looking for anything per se, but sometimes you find inspiration in the weirdest situations. I do believe that you have to live in order to create. It makes you a better creator, once you've experienced things. For most of Pisces season, I spent it doing jury duty. I was a grand juror for Queens County, big Queens. Not that I didn't know that New York was crazy, but I was like, wow, this just feels intense because I'm all of the places that these events were taking place in, I'm like, I know this spot, or this is just too close for comfort, but whatever. With grand jury, which is different from a trial jury, you are basically deciding if there's a crime, right? If this person should be indicted on some charges or persons. I think I got about 42 different cases that myself and other jurors had to vote on. And it was crazy because we didn't even know each other's names. It was just this is your number, and then, that's it. We're in this room all day from 9 to 5 for a month. I just want to put that out there, for a month. Oh man, I tried to get out of it. I really did. But they got your girl, and I've been running for a while. So they got me. Aside from the crazy cases that I was hearing, I just love the whole storytelling aspect of it. The court officer would come into the room and say, this is the case number, these are the defendants, this is the top charge, and whether we were going to charge and vote on this today or at a later time. And you're ooh. The assistant DAs would come in, and the way that they questioned the witnesses that were on stand was really inspiring. It's kind of weird, but I was like, this was cool. So I have an idea of working on my first script ever. I've had ideas about writing stuff, but I just never actually sat down to do it. And I'm like, what do I even talk about? I don't know. But I follow this really cool YouTube channel called Film Courage. And for my filmies out there, if you ever need some courage or some encouragement, that channel will do it all. So I like that they talk to people within the film industry that aren't well known, or they're not mainstream. So you're not getting a Nolan or a Greta or something like that, but you are getting people that have been putting in the work for their careers and doing documentary stuff and just figuring that stuff out too. So for me, I'm at a stage in life where I want to work and create my projects and live my life. That's it. So I'll keep you guys posted about the script stuff, but I think it'd be kind of cool to kind of talk to you or bring you guys in on that journey of doing it. And it's also holding me accountable, because there's been plenty of times where I'll say, hey, I'm doing something, and then I don't do it. So as a filmmaker, I think we look at the world a little different. You see things visually, and it opens up this whole world of creativity. And I think sometimes we can get so boggled down with life that we don't remember what it is to find inspiration or to feel motivated to get things done. So I want to talk to you today about that, and just some different ways that you can be inspired and find that inspo. So like I said before, you've got to live, darling. You have to live in order to create. It makes you a better artist. Just think about it. Think about if you were just in your room all day, you're in your apartment, in your home, and not going out into the world, observing things or looking at things. So that brings us to our first point. Let's start by observing things. Go for a walk, go into a new neighborhood, obviously with caution, but go into a new neighborhood and see what you can notice about it, right? I used to do these soundscape walks where I would record on my phone, right? Because I really like the audio side of filmmaking too. but I would record a voice memo on my phone and then I would just listen as I walked to like whatever I'm picking up on. And it was so cool to see the difference of what my ears picked up versus the actual microphone. So very cool. I would say you could do that to get inspired for like, I don't know, audio parts of filmmaking, but it's really cool. Going outside for a walk, observing the world, people watching, just start paying attention to details, little things. I think the second way would be to try something new, right? When's the last time you did something for the first time? You know? And it doesn't have to be anything super great. It could be, you could be trying a new food, or you can try a new film genre to watch, or, you know, you can try a new exercise or something. You know, it doesn't have to be this big grand thing, but you can find inspiration in the simplicity of life, even if you're trying something new. When in doubt, I always recommend reading, because it just opens up your world or your brain to other things, and getting lost in a book is great. So speaking of getting lost in a book, I have this book here. This is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's Creative Living Beyond Fear. And the book is broken into like 6 chapters: courage, enchantment, permission, persistence, trust, and divinity. And just kind of tapping into all of those parts when it comes to creating life. Oh God. Creating art or film projects or whatever is your outlet for creativity. And I always love to go back to this book, but one point that she made was that, like, you know, you might have an idea, but there might be someone else across the state or in another country that has the same idea. Don't get so wrapped up in, you know, being the only person to think about something or focusing on that. Just continue creating and letting it flow. But I do recommend this. So anytime I feel like I'm in a little bit of a rut, I pick this up and I get to it. So I will put that in the description so you can get it. Hard copy or a Kindle, whatever works best for you. The best projects come from things that we've either experienced or, you know, talking to someone else and really bonding on that human experience. And I know it sounds so cheesy, like, oh my God, humans, but it's real. We are a lot more alike than we are different. If we can just get past these silly gender wars, stop. Write what you know. Other things you could do to find inspiration. I love going to a museum. You know, if you live in a major city, a lot of times these museums, if you're a resident of the state, you know, you'll be able to visit for free or just for a donation or pay as you wish. So I love getting up and going to the Met. That's probably one of my favorite museums here in New York. I do love the Natural History Museum. Ugh, I wish they would bring back the adult spend the night thing out there. It's such a cool experience. If they ever brought it back, it's worth every penny. Please, it's worth it. Strum up conversations with strangers with reason and caution. I'm not telling you to go up to the next person you see and like tell them your whole life story or figure out their life story, but sometimes the conversations we have with strangers are the best because it's like we don't owe them anything, right? So it's just a moment in time. It's just a quick flip of your life, and perhaps you might come across some gold, some inspiration there. Another way you can find inspiration is to travel. Now, obviously, the economy is poop. Maybe you don't have to travel internationally. You could travel locally. You can go see different things. I mean, even for like New York, there's so much outside of New York City. Traveling, of course, that opens you up to seeing how other people live and just different stories. You know, I think another way to find inspo, look through the news. Look for some interesting articles about things that are happening around the world. Nat Geo is a great place to start if you're like into nature and animals and things like that. But, you know, looking at some science stuff, or look at, you know, something that happened in law, just something. Like, you can find so many different ideas just by reading. I sound like LeVar Burton. Inspiration comes in waves. And sometimes you just need to have a notebook or a notepad or an app or something on your phone so you could jot down those ideas. Because trust me, listen, in your 30s, we like to think that our memory is great, but it's not. Keep it a buck and have your book to write things down. One last cool thing that I don't know how much time you have for. I'm a hands-on kind of girl. So sometimes I like to collect things that I like images or whatever, and just glue them or tape them to a notebook. And then I also I think it's cool to write down a list of things that you like and a list of things that you don't like too. and just kind of compare to see like how that changes with life too. It's pretty cool. So not to get all like hippie on you, but those little things really help you to find that inspiration. You're not always going to find it by doing the same thing. Sometimes you got to just jumpstart it and try something new. So for me, jury duty was quite the experience, but it was also inspiring. Let me know in the comments what you do to find inspiration. Thank you so much for listening, watching, tuning in. If this was your jam, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you back here next time on the Safe Place to Talk Dangerously with Taylor-Alexis. Bye. Go get that book. Write it down.